Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome in. We're going to start just a little bit sooner here this evening. But we're here for another episode of the Full Set Half Mess podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking about this weekend's races at Daytona, the Rolex 24, the BMW Pilot Challenge there as well. And then we'll also break down this weekend's Busch Light Clash. We'll give you our picks for that, as well as a full Indy NXT season preview. We'll give you our championship picks, maybe some Indy 500 picks, maybe some dark horses, some expectations for certain teams, drivers. It's going to be a lot of fun here this evening. But first off, I'm here with Tom this evening. Tom, how are you doing, man?
I'm great. What an incredible weekend we had. And we actually ran 24 hours, which we're starting the year off on a good foot in terms of national racing. So, I'm excited to continue on.
Yes, sir, man. It's been a great start to this motorsports world. I mean, even like the Chili Bowl, we didn't have any transponder issues there either, like last year's. It is kicking off good. Got our 24
We did
hours
get
in.
George the Traveling Gas Man, though.
Yeah, we've had a couple adventures with George the Traveling Gas Man so far this year. Yes.
We're going to find out who that guy is.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
find you.
We'll find him. He's on our radar. Alrighty, let's start off with some news. Daytona 500 rumor here with Chandler Smith with MBM for the Daytona 500 replacing old Mike Wallace. Can we get a rest in the chat or rip in the chat for old Mike Wallace losing his ride to old Chandler Smith? Maybe this should take a moment of silence, Tom. Maybe that would be the best way to honor it here for old Mike Wallace. I mean, how terrible is that? They killed the man's dream, man. He just wanted to race the 500, dude.
They did. They did kill it.
All right. Well, what is your... I don't think that this MBM team makes the race. I mean, I'm going to go more in depth with it because I'm going to make another one of those hater guides for the Daytona 500. But I don't really have a lot of expectations on old Chandler Smith
No.
making this whole Daytona 500.
Honestly, it'd be a hard selling point to sell the seat. Maybe MBM just was like, hey, you want to try? And they're, yeah, sure. Let's go.
Right. I mean, honestly, they already got the car built and prepared. I mean, they had to just find a driver, so it makes sense. Yeah, I don't see him making the race, but we'll find out. We'll find out. There's going to be at least 4 open spots available. Entry list is packing up. And to that note, the old LaJoy dozer's coming out of getting out of the kitchen, and he's going to be making his start or attempt at the Daytona 500 this year as well. What about that?
Who'd you say? I'm sorry, I was typing something.
Corey LaJoy making a start or taking an attempt at this year's Daytona 500.
Well, he stacked enough pennies, I guess.
I don't think this is working out at all, man. I guarantee he's gonna wreck half the field in the damn duel race, bro, just to try and make it in and not even survive the wreck himself, dude.
Did you see what I posted in what was it, NASCAR Drama? His stupid little interview that he did?
Yeah, I did watch that.
Oh my god. That dude needs to get over himself.
Dude, he has got an ego and it's not even
He's not that guy.
No, he's not that guy. He never will be that guy. He's had multiple years to prove that he's that guy, and he hasn't been that guy. He isn't that guy.
And basically in that video, he's shitting on Xfinity and trucks. He hasn't even won a race there yet. And he's shitting on the drivers there. Like, what are you doing? What a clown.
He is an absolute clown. He's won less NASCAR races than John West Townley, dude. What the fuck is going on here? Spencer Gallagher. I mean, he has no legs to stand on. That's pretty funny. Oh, man. So, yeah, I think that'll be another one to chalk up to not making the Daytona 500. We'll get into it here in a couple weeks when we get closer to the Daytona 500, which I think in 2 weeks we'll have our full Daytona 500 preview podcast. We'll break it down for you guys and give you our picks and who makes it and whatnot. Wins poll. We'll go on a whole thing with that. But as of now, those are 2 new entries that we hear of, with Chandler Smith and Corey LaJoy respectively making attempts at this year's Daytona 500. Also, how about Red Bull kind of making a return to NASCAR in a sponsorship role here with Trackhouse Racing for Zilich and SVG?
Would have never happened without Trackhouse. Without Trackhouse absolutely changing the grounds of exposure for the sport of NASCAR. NASCAR, you really need to take a page out of the book of what Trackhouse is doing, and you'll thrive. The only reason why you're doing good right now is because of Trackhouse. That's just facts.
100% facts. I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited to see those Red Bull liveries. Well, we've already seen little hints at them or whatever, that little commercial they made. The cars look freaking awesome, dude. I don't understand the 87. I know we're listening to Justin Marks, who's at the Rolex. He was trying to explain the numbers that he selects for the cars, and the 88 was kind of a throwback to Dale Jarrett, kind of is what he was
Yeah.
saying, because it was one of his drivers. I didn't catch what he said about the 87 car, but I'm sure there's something important there with it as
I don't
well.
know.
But
I won my
Zilich,
first championship in the number 87.
there you go. Maybe that's the throwback, the homage to the Dega
I'm
Boys.
I'm honored.
Yes, sir. And then Zilich making his Cup debut at Coda this year. I'm excited for this, man. I mean, this is a race that I think he can win. I still remember when he made his Truck Series debut, and he absolutely obliterated the field in qualifying. It was like 2 seconds faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's not even fair.
No, it's not, dude. It's not fair at all. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to the Rolex this weekend, but he had a good run going there at the end until it kind of fell apart, made a mistake. But I'm excited, man. Zilich going to make a Cup debut, Trackhouse with Red Bull on both the SVG and Zilich car there as well. I'm super excited about it. Also, they testing at Rockingham this week, and an announcement for the Xfinity Series race. This on Easter weekend, kind of the premier series of that weekend. Truck Xfinity doubleheader at Rockingham. Casey Kane is coming out of retirement to run his first NASCAR race since retiring, basically, with RCR in the number 33, man. I'm excited for this, dude. This is, I think statistically, the old Rockingham was one of his better tracks in his on his stat book. Yeah, so it'd be interesting.
It'll be good for him. Especially in an Xfinity car, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think his best years, I think, in NASCAR were those COT era years. Minus like the first few years of his career, the COT era years were some of his best. And the Xfinity car is basically a glorified COT car. So I think it's not a bad fit, man. I think he might actually be able to compete in this race. I mean, RCR equipment's good. Chevy's gonna have the backing. I could see this being a total win. I don't know how many other drivers are going to be making a start at this. I heard somebody throw out the name McMurray as a potential that would be a good person to see at Rockingham. Considering with his track record as well. I don't know, man. I'm excited for this Rockingham race this weekend. I think I predicted it last year. Bull predictions. I said Rockingham was going to be the All-Star race for this year's All-Star race. It never happened, but we did get our Xfinity truck to go back to Rockingham, so I feel like I was kind of on the right stage there. I'm not going to count it because it doesn't count, obviously, but I'm excited for this Rockingham deal, man.
Same. It's going to be a banger.
Alrighty. Oh yeah, let's talk about IndyCar Denver. I forgot they ever put that on my thing. I guess you can lead us off with that. You just put it down.
So basically, it sounds like it's confirmed that IndyCar will be racing in Denver in 2026, a street course. Of course, we don't have all of the, specifics like where it's going to be, but that's going to be pretty dope. I'm going to look really forward to that. I've been to Denver plenty of times, driven around there, and it's gonna be kick ass for sure. Especially the views in the background.
Oh yeah, exactly, the views in the background. That's why I was kind of surprised because I remember posting that thing in the Discord maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was Washington, the state of Washington was like one of the highest IndyCar fan bases, I guess, on the West Coast. I'm surprised that they picked Denver over Seattle. I felt like Seattle was going to be like the main target there. But then again, they have the race in Portland, so that kind of covers that market. We're tapping into a new market with Denver. Kind of makes sense. I don't know. I'm excited for it.
Well,
I love street course racing.
In all fairness, we're IndyCar's taking some pages out of the book from what NASCAR is doing. So, are we surprised? Really? Your biggest fan base is in Washington, but let's put a race in Colorado. That sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the only way I could justify is what I just said with the Portland being right there. I mean, that's how far between Portland and Seattle is, like 4 or 5 hour drive-ish. Yeah.
Sure.
There's an airport hub there. I don't know, man. Every time I think of Denver is back in the old what was it? God, it was during the split. Champ Car used to race around the Denver Broncos Stadium. That was a
Yeah.
pretty damn cool race too. But well, I don't know if the track layout will be similar to that. I don't know if they'll have a different route. Maybe it's downtown. I don't know how it's gonna work, but any street courses are just good races anyway. Street courses are
Yeah.
fun. I mean, we've seen what happened with the Detroit, how that's kind of gotten kind of hit or miss. I mean, people love it or they hate it. I would put myself on the love it side of things, but I know a lot of people that hate it. Who knows what happens with old Detroit? So, and then Nashville just went away too, and that a lot of it had to do with the reconstruction of the stadium there for the NFL team or whatever. But um, just trying to tap into new markets. Now we got the what is it the Arlington one coming up next year. So I mean, there's a lot of street course changes in IndyCar. I'm excited for that. Was that everything for news this week, or was there anything else?
Just the NASCAR DVP, the new rules.
Yeah, we did kind of go over that, unless they changed it.
Oh, did we? Oh,
Did-
never mind. Nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we went over the Cash and
Never
Nevis
mind.
rule and then the DVP and all that.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. So if you guys want to listen to that, go back a couple podcasts from then. We'll talk about that in the news. But I do want to start off with talking about this weekend's races, the IMSA series with the Pilot Challenge, the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, all met or going to Daytona this weekend for the crown jewel event of the weekend in the IMSA series. And boy, God, man, did we have some freaking amazing races, dude! I was over the moon. I wrote some notes down for the Pilot Challenge race. I do want to kind of talk about that quickly here, and then we'll jump right into the Rolex 24 because there is a ton of talking points here that we have to get into. I just want to note that the number 17 Honda, one of the better teams last year in TCR, makes the jump over to Grand Sport this year, and no, they were let me see, trying to think of what point of the race this was. This was really early. The number 17 Honda ends up hitting the wall. This was on Thursday or Friday, so I'm going back in my memory brain. Had to write that down because they were really competitive last year in TCR. The number 39 BMW got used and abused at the beginning of this race. I think they got turned around about 3-4 times. Once coming onto the NASCAR one, once going into the Le Mans chicane. I think they got bumped out of the way going through International. I mean, they had a rough day. My pick, rip in the chat, the 98 Hyundai with Brian Herta Autosport, ended up having some suspension issues, put that multiple laps down, kind of took them out of contention there. Although their two teammates did battle for the win, the 76 and the 33, played a little bit of team orders. I don't think they really got too aggressive with each other. But coming out of the Le Mans chicane for the final lap, the 33 did make a valiant effort to try and pass the 76 for the win. And it was in a drag race, came up just a little short. So, and those were the only two that were even competitive in TCR. I came in here last week saying, man, I think the TCR battle might be pretty good, and the TCR battle was pretty lame. But damn, we talk about the battle in Grand Sport, man. That was the show. The Cupra, Tom picked them as a dark horse, and I was excited to see what they do. They end up getting in a wreck 3 wide into turn 1 on a restart. Was never going to work. End up getting spit out and up into the wall there. Ended their race and ended their debut. They showed some pace at some points of the race, but just never really worked out at the end. But really, the main thing is the battle at the end between Ford, McLaren, and Porsche. Unbelievable battle. Ford kind of leading the pace, setting the pace. Porsche, who qualified on pole in Grand Sport, they were kind of controlling the lead. Ford was hounding them. Ford got by them. Then McLaren got fast towards the end. But the cool thing about it is all of the BOPs on these cars were so much different, where one car was better at certain parts of the track. Some were better on the straightaways. Some were better under braking. I mean, it was just, that's what made it entertaining. The Windward was really good through Windward Mercedes was really good through the infield section, but when they got to the straightaways, they lost all the time they gained through the road course section. But then the McLaren, the Porsche, and the Ford were close enough balanced where it made it interesting, where you saw them gaining and losing ground throughout the entire duration of that final stint there. But late in that race, it was the Porsche trying to hang on for the win. Luca Mars, the co-driver, he's sitting up on the booth or on the pit box because he did the first stint, had the lead for most of the race. Then hands the wheel over for the final stint, and then the 44 McLaren, unbelievable drive at the end of the race. Made the move for the win, basically with 3 minutes to go in the race, with about 2 laps basically remaining. Makes the move, makes the pass, and by that point, it was just he wasn't going to be denied. He just the acceleration on that McLaren was unbelievable, dude. When he got off of any corner, I mean, he was legging him. But then by the end of the straightaway, the Porsche and the Ford would actually catch back up and actually have more legs down the long straights. It could be gearing. That's the only thing I could think of. Maybe the McLaren was restricted to a certain type of gear that the Fords and the Porsches weren't. But what an awesome race, man. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So many twists and turns, lots of cautions. I remember Aston Martin at one time lost a wheel in a really awkward spot. I mean, it was just fun. I love the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and a lot of what we saw in the Michelin Pilot Challenge at Daytona, we're going to see that again this weekend with the 12 Hours of Bathurst, which I'm super excited for. It's mostly GT4 cars, some TCR cars. It's going to be a fun race. 23 cars on the entry list. I did post that in the Discord if you guys are interested. I'm excited for that race. I watched pretty much the duration of it last year. It was so much fun to watch. Valentino Rossi kind of made his name known in the sports car world after that race last year. And he's back again this year. And that's kind of who I'm taking to win this weekend, to be honest, Tom. I'm excited to see Valentino Rossi. But the first Michelin Pilot Challenge race, the first endurance race, you have 2 every year. This is the first one, the 4-hour race. And man, that was a fun race. I enjoyed it. McLaren ends up winning in Grand Sport, and Hyundai ends up winning there in TCR. All right, Tom. You want to talk about the Rolex 24, dude? The banger of a race that we saw at Daytona, man. I can't believe this race, dude. This race was absolutely freaking thrilling. I mean, there was just so many layers and aspects to this race that just made it so freaking good. I kind of just wrote notes down the way I did. So first off, let's talk about Lambo just quitting, man. Why? I mean, we said it then. I mean, we can say it now.
What was it, like an hour and a half in?
Yeah.
Something? They just gave up? What?
I can't believe it.
You had 23 hours to work on the pig. Just freaking put it together. Good Lord.
I can't believe it, man. They had such a beautiful car, man. They re-livery or
They really
new
did.
livery on it this year, and we knew they weren't going to be fast, but we're like, man, like the way the attrition rate could be this year, who knows, man? If they just hang around, they could win it. And they park it, and then they called it. I mean, they didn't even really try to look at it. They were in the garage for what, all of about 5 minutes. They pull it in, and they're done. I'm like, what the hell? All the drivers end up packing up and going home. It's like, God damn, man. Like, you're trying to make an attempt this year at the championship in IMSA. Like, who cares if you come back with 3 hours to go? Like, fix the damn car, man. Don't give up like that. That's like the complete opposite of the essence of racing, man. That was a bad look for me, and I thought it was kind of a funny meme. Also,
yeah.
Oh, unless you got more to add, go for it. I don't
No, I completely agree. What a freaking joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. They spent all this money to get this car to America, and all the money on the people, on the supplies, on getting prepared, and all. They're an hour in. You basically everything's paid for. Just sit there and freaking fix the dang thing, man. Like, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. Honestly, it's ridiculous. I just think as fans at the track, I mean, I don't know. It was just a big hype up for that Lamborghini program. We got nothing out of it, man. We really didn't get anything out of it, honestly.
Yeah, extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing. I was hoping to see Roman and who was the other F1 driver that was driving in that car this weekend?
Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel Kvyat. Yeah, I was hoping to see those guys race this weekend. Never even got a chance. So super unfortunate. We did have on the initial start, the United LMP2 did some LMP2 stuff, went spinning there in the first turn. The TDS not too long later, he ends up piling it in the wall during into India International, which was hilarious. I do want to talk about the Acuras next, because this is the major points of the race, right? On two different ends of spectrums, right? So the number 93, Hello behind the wheel at the time, going down after he got out of the kink, going back onto NASCAR 1 and 2. It's a rumble strip, and it breaks the rear suspension. I mean, we saw a lot of rear suspension issues here this weekend, Tom.
Yeah, we did, and it's really just unfortunate. Really, I don't know. I almost feel like they were making these suspension components just out of titanium. And it wasn't the Acura that just broke their suspension components as well. I mean, it was multiple cars, multiple classes. It wasn't just GTP either. I mean, and I don't know, man. It just, to me, it was just kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know. And you know what? Daytona, the infield course could be weathering, could be a lot bumpier. You remember when Coda first opened up? Extremely smooth track. Now it's probably one of the bumpiest race courses you can go on. You know, I mean, it's a possibility, but to me, it was just kind of crazy. You know?
Well, that, and I think the one thing we're not even talking about either was the new curbs on the Le Mans chicane. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
that had to have had a lot to do with it too, because you had to race that track a lot different than you used to be able to now that they took the grass out and they put curbs in. Yeah, and like you said, multiple classes, multiple manufacturers. We saw the number 31 Whelen Cadillac have issues. The Proton had issues. The Inception team had issues with their car. Uh,
Hmm.
the one car lost a wheel. Another team broke their suspension. Maybe the 36 team and the GT. I mean, there was a lot of issues with suspension in this race, and that was the first little wing there of or the first little inkling of what we were going to see in this race was the suspension. Also, we have to talk about Kobayashi, dude. Oh my
Oh
goodness
my
gracious.
God.
What an absolute Chad, dude. I mean, the stint that
Seriously.
he put on was amazing, dude. Like he at one point, everybody on the damn internet was just talking about Kobayashi this, Kobayashi that. It reminded me of like having like, what was it, like a Heineken commercial is what they should have made with Kobayashi or something like that, you know, like, or like a Dos Equis or something, you know, like dude, what Kobayashi did on that like stint there was just freaking amazing, and it was like 4 hours in. The Acuras were garbage, dude, for the first 3-4 hours. I mean, they were
Yeah.
irrelevant. Kobayashi gets behind the wheel and he says, "Hold this," and he drives all the way up to the front of the field.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane.
It really was. But you know, I think what it really shows is that Toyota screwed up. I think that's what it shows.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he was pretty much putting that team on his back the last couple of years. I don't understand what Toyota was thinking to drop him. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But he came out and proved it, man. I'm excited
He
to see
did.
what else Kobayashi is going to be able to do this year. Like I'm sold, man. His stint was just so freaking good, man. And I like what he said in his post race or in his media availability after his stint. They asked him like, "What was up with that stint? Like, why were you driving so crazy?" He's like, "We're here to race. We're not on a holiday."
Yeah, right. No, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah, so Kobayashi gets a big shout out. Precursor to driver of the week nominee there with Kobayashi, man. What an awesome stint. I did want to talk about Andy Lally and his final Rolex attempt having some engine issues. That was so
Rip.
unfortunate. I wanted to see him at least be able to finish the race, and that just wasn't a possibility. But what a legend, man. What an absolute legend, and having his career end the way it did, it kind of leaves a sour taste. But he went out fighting, dude. I think they're running second or third when that happened too. So I mean, it's not like they were running bad, dude. So
Yep.
good for him to wind out his career there by running up front, man, doing what he does best.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Heart of Racing's wheel comes off at one point in the race. Same thing happened to him in the Michelin Pilot Challenge I was talking about earlier. They had an Aston Martin with their wheel come off. The same thing happened in the GT3 car on the Rolex 24. That was pretty funny. We do have to talk about the big crash though. Basically the biggest, well, not the biggest drama. The first half of the race drama was this big wreck, right? Louis on a restart with about 18 hours to go. Louis Delatraz in the Acura in the 40 that Kobayashi absolutely put towards the front with that amazing stint. Louis Delatraz gets behind the wheel, and he absolutely loses control, bounces off the inside wall, comes back on the track, and nowhere for the United. The Pratt Miller, who were both having decent runs. The two United, I said he spun early. They recovered. They had recovered, and they were back in the Vixen LP2. Pratt Miller was running good all race long up to that point. They end up getting taken out, running into the number 40. Also, Tower Motorsports, who was your eventual race winner. We'll talk about that in a minute. They were involved in this wreck, as well as the PFAF. Let's talk about Jordan Pepper, the driver behind the wheel of the number 9 Lamborghini, Tom. Oh my god.
What was he? We were talking about it. It was like watching the Ballad of Big Willie. You know?
Oh man, absolutely TKO's the BMW, and that BMW, the number
Yeah.
48 BMW, was basically the most dominant car for the first 6 hours. They were the class of the field, fastest car. Lose a little bit of track position with the caution, but they were gonna fight right back and get it back. I mean, that 48 team with Augusta Farfus, uh, who else was behind the wheel? I think it was Connor DeFelipe. No, DeFelipe was in the one. Was it Eng? I think yeah, it was Eng that was in the 48. I mean, they had a good car. I mean, they were fast, and then they get taken out with an ARCA brake situation with Jordan Pepper and the PFAB. I mean, where's the awareness, man? Like, you see three cars dead sideways wrecked in front of you through the S's, and you're just gonna keep it pegged. Like, what are you gonna miss? I mean, what are you gonna miss? You're gonna not miss anything. You're gonna hit everything. I mean, that was just dumb. I don't understand that early in the race, man. Like, get on the brakes, man. There was lots of teams behind that did just fine at getting on the brakes. There's no excuse there.
Yeah, there's no excuse. That was just ridiculous. I mean, he drove past the caddy that was sitting right in the middle of the track. Didn't see that, but also didn't see the LMP2s that were sitting there, the three of them that were wrecked into each other, continued on. I mean, we're talking about the GTD field here, okay? The field that starts hundreds and hundreds of yards behind the GTP class, and he still barrels in there like he's God, man. I mean, that was just unbelievable. It was crazy. It was crazy.
It was unbelievable, dude. That was absolute comic at its finest. I can't believe that happened. Louis Delatraz did not expect that type of mistake out of him. But I mean, what was the big theme of the whole race, though, Tom? Cold tires, cold racetrack, dude.
Yeah.
It was so hard for these guys to get heat in their tires, man. That's what made it fun to watch, right? Because like the GTPs would come off track, make their pit stop, come back on track, and they would get passed by the GT cars for a lap or so while they get the heat in their tires, and then they'd fly back by them, and then again the same. It was the same rotation a whole race. It was kind of entertaining to watch. So not only were the GT cars being the moving chicanes, they were also having to use the GTPs as moving chicanes at some points too.
Yeah,
which was very entertaining, man. There was so much like taking new tires and not taking tires, or taking scuffs, or all the different strategies that were being played out. Just made this race extremely interesting. And to see the cold tires on a restart like that, to see an uncharacteristic mistake by Delatraz was interesting. That really kind of changed the race. Eliminated a bunch of the contenders there at GTP, including, well, later on, another suspension issue. Jack Aiken behind the wheel of the 31 Action Express takes the lead on pit entry. When an amazing pit entry, like when he flew past the Porsche, that was super fun to watch. Hands the wheel over to Vesti, and then they had another suspension issue coming off of NASCAR 4. What a near amazing save that was by Vesti, though. Can we admit that, man? Like, he should have wrecked that thing 3-4 times before he finally did, and somehow, I don't know how he did it, man. That car was broken, and he was going 200 miles an hour and almost saved the damn race car. That was unbelievable. Him trying to back the car up with the front end ripped off, and the officials are just sitting there watching him trying to put it in reverse. I mean, comical, dude. Comical. Some of the memes off of that were freaking awesome too, man. Oh, you can't
I agree.
beat it. Oh man. Jared Zubair in the chat. Jared's in here. Yo, about to go to class. Just stopped into Shanghai. Thanks, Jared. Oh man. Alrighty. So yeah, that eliminated the Action Express Cadillac. Also, the Proton had suspension issues. Looked like they were gonna fix it. They couldn't fix it. They end up having to end the race as well. So we were just dropping like flies in the GTP field. Corvette catches fire. That was entertaining as hell. In the late night hours, they had already gotten wrecked. This was a 36 that got spun out coming off of Lamar chicane. Finally got back in the race and then ended up catching fire there. Coming out of NASCAR 2, that was pretty entertaining part of the race. Inception, who was leading at the 6-hour mark, the 6-hour mark and the 12-hour mark. After we passed the 12-hour mark, they're leading the race at GTD. The Inception has suspension issues. They're done for the race. I mean, everybody was just dropping like flies. It looked like nobody wanted to lead at any point of the race. We saw that late in the race with LMP2 as well. Like, we had AO Racing leading late. They end up having their issues. The Precon end up having their issues late and were leading the race.
That was especially sad. That
Yes.
the pre. What was it? What was it called again?
Pecan,
I keep forgetting.
Or Pecan?
Percon, something like that. I can't remember.
Something like that.
That was heartbreaking. I honestly feel like they had that race won. Honestly.
Yeah, I do too. And it was like with an hour to go. I mean, that was miserable. And then AO with less than an hour to go had their issues.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was the late race restart. And then the Era Motorsports number 18 ended up having their issues late in the race from the lead. So yeah, the LMP2 class turned into LMP2 at the end of the race with all of the drop offs and nobody wanting to win. It felt like, dude, it was crazy. But we do need to talk about the biggest drama, I think, of the entire race, and that is the BMW Corvette rivalry. All begins with basically the Corvette and the BMW were about 4 or 5 hours ago battling to the S side by side. Neither of them gave each other any room. BMW gets ran off the track by the Corvette. Maybe a little bit of animosity there. We fast forward a couple hours later. BMW, the 48, who we talked about, got ran over earlier, was multiple laps down, was playing blocker for their team car, who was chasing down the Corvette. The Corvette ends up running up the track, smashing into the BMW, ends up getting damaged, has to come down multiple times to repair it, gives the iconic middle finger out the window to the BMW. Then Milner gets out of the car, bitches and moans and says like they need to be disqualified, all this, just lots of drama. And then late in the race, Milner, or I guess it wasn't Milner behind the wheel. I can't remember who was behind the wheel of the Corvette at the time. Comes back out, ends up dumping the number 1 BMW and says, "We're not winning, neither are you." Sends him into turn 1. And wow. Well, how about that drama, Tom? Can you believe it, dude?
It's amazing. I freaking love it. That's what I'm talking about. Let him. And you know what? What was even better about that whole ordeal, Jay, is that Tommy Milner, I forgot his name there for a second. He created a shirt. And that shirt has him and his great salute to the number 1 guy out there on the track right on the back of the shirt. And I'm going to buy one right after this podcast.
Hell yeah. Oh, man. What an iconic moment, dude. An iconic photo, dude. Iconic. I love it, man. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's racing. I made a short about this whole little rivalry, too, that ensued. You guys seem to love it, man. I think it's got like almost 10,000 views or something like that. It's got like 500 something likes. I mean, it blew up really quick. So, yeah, that was the moment of the race, man. I mean, the drama at the end was just intense between those. We had some great battles at the end, right? So, let's talk about Dries Vanthoor in the BMW. He ends up trying to race with the Porsche, makes a mistake, goes to the grass, breaks his suspension. He's flopping up down the track like this. Kind of took him out of contention there, trying to run down the Porsche. You had the 2 Porsches battling. Intense battle for the win. Nazar behind the wheel of the 7 ends up getting by the 6 of Campbell. Kind of an inner team battle there. Then you saw late with Blomqvist trying to make his resurgence to the front. He wasn't able to get by the 7 Porsche. Back-to-back for Porsche this year. They just seem unstoppable, Tom. I mean, all the accolades Porsche's had over the last 2 years is insane.
And honestly, you could say the same with Penske. Penske is just freaking dominating the motorsports world right now. Somebody's got to get them off their high horse, man. Because if I was in GTP competition or hypercar competition for the past couple years, I'd be embarrassed. I would be embarrassed right now. Absolutely getting rocked. At the moment. So, yeah, that's a big RIP for the homies there.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they stack up against the 2 real measuring sticks, which is Toyota and Ferrari, when we get the World Endurance Championship season started. Because I picked Porsche in the offseason. That was one of my bold predictions to be a dark horse to win the Rolex 20 or the Le Mans 24 this year. So we'll find out here soon when the World Endurance Championship season kicks off to see how Porsche stacks up against the Toyota and Ferrari. But I think it's a good omen to start this year. I mean, they were the most consistent, dominant team. Shout out to BMW though. I mean, BMW after their terrible year last year. What a freaking resurgence for BMW! It was BMW Porsche all race long.
Yeah, I mean, we got that hint of Cadillac, right? We did get that hint of Cadillac, and we got nothing out of Lamborghini, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, BMW absolutely phenomenal job. We even saw Proton up there in the top 5, mixing it up a little bit with the front contenders. So that was pretty cool. I thought so, and yeah.
I felt like
It was pretty cool.
patting
It was pretty
BMW
cool
on the
GTP
head.
race.
It
Just
was so
overall,
good.
I think.
I enjoyed it, man. That was a damn good race for GTP, especially at the end. We had 4 cars finish on the lead lap. I mean, it was such an attrition race at a GTP that with more cars, I think there's 12 entries this year, which is more than they've had the last 2 at GTP. So
Yeah, a lot of GTPs.
yeah, and we're also gonna have by the end of the year, we're also gonna have Aston Martin with the Valkyrie being a contender in the IMSA series as well. So we'll get up to about 13, and maybe more to come in future years. I mean, I'm excited to see what GTP future has, but it was Porsche's weekend, man. They just were consistent from the start to finish. LMP2. We just mentioned it with all the drop offs at the end of this race. We didn't really get a typical LMP2 class or with all the wrecks and drama, but we did say this was a stacked LMP2 class, man. It really was. We did have our incidents with United. We did have our incidents with TDS. We did have our incidents with Colton Herta, which will be a nominee for Bonehead of the Week for that awesome ability to completely throw it in the wall in international with CrowdStrike. So we did have our LMP2 moments, but at the end, it turned into more LMP2 moments with all the with the 88 going down, the 99 going down, the 18 going down, and it leaves the door open for Tower Motorsports with Sebastian Bourdais at the final stint. How about that, Bourdais, man? How about it?
All I gotta say is, first underdog pick win of the year, baby! That's what I'm talking about! Yes!
Oh, man.
I love it.
I would have never put Tower winning this on my bingo card. I mean, they were involved in the wreck with 18 hours to go. I mean, unbelievable what they were able to do. Especially, they just survived all the carnage. I mean, they weren't the fastest car. They didn't have the best driver lineup. They just found a way to put themselves in victory lane at the end of the day, man. They just found a way. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that too is, I forgot to talk about this with Tandy, but they were saying that Bourdais has now won the Rolex 3 times in 3 different classes. How freaking crazy is that?
Incredible.
He's won in the top prototype. He's won in the LMP2 prototype, and he's won in a GT3 car or a GT car. Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. Yeah. How is he not
incredible?
The GOAT? Unbelievable. Also with Tandy, we do have to mention this with Tandy. Wins with the number 7 Porsche. He is now Mr. 24 Hours. That's his new nickname, to my opinion.
Yeah.
He's won the 24-hour Nürburgring, 24 hours of Spa, Le Mans 24, and now the Rolex 24. He's won the 4 biggest 24-hour races in the world. Mr. 24. That's his nickname.
Mr. 24.
That's his nickname, man. Nick Tandy.
Incredible.
24. Absolutely unbelievable. The fact that even when one 24-hour race takes a lot of skill and luck to go on your side, but to do it 4 different times is freaking incredible, dude. Unbelievable.
Yes. Very incredible. What a job. The dedication it takes. I mean, it's not just one 24-hour race. He's been over in Europe. He's been all over the world racing these cars, and it just shows he's just gotten better and better and better and better. I mean, he's king of sports car racing. Honestly, he is.
100%. I gave him a lot of shit during this offseason. I really did. I've actually pretty much ever since Chicago or Detroit last year, giving him a lot of shit. He made himself look like an absolute clown in that Detroit IMSA race last year, and I've been clowning him ever since, but I might have to walk some of that back. I've got to walk a lot of stuff back, Tom. We got to eat a lot of crow today, man. I got to eat crow for Nick Tandy. I've given him a lot of shit. Connor D. Felipe didn't clown himself this year. Got to give him a freaking round of applause. Old D. Felipe. Next, we're going to talk about the winner in GT3, GTD Pro. Ford Multimatic. I got to eat crow, dude. I got to eat some crow, man. Oh, man. I can't believe it.
Yes! Oh my gosh! What a freaking job! I was watching the qualifying. Jay and I were texting back, and Jay's like, "Holy shit, dude!" I was like, "Don't tell me I'm like 15 seconds behind, but it's looking good." It was how incredible, man! How incredible!
I can't believe it, dude. I mean,
I can't.
We spent the entire last 12 months, Tom, shitting on Ford, dude. I mean, on a weekly basis, dude, just continually reaming them. And then they go out and just prove us wrong. They didn't just win the race; they finished 1-3 in this race, which is
Yeah.
freaking fantastic, dude. I mean, and they were the
Incredible.
best two cars, most consistently the best two cars all race long in GTD. Corvette was there towards the end. If you guys remember that race, Corvette really wasn't a factor in the first half of that race. It was BMW and Ford bouncing back and forth. And then Corvette kind of cycled into it. And then when Corvette cycled into it, them and BMW had their rivalry. So Ford just sat back and took their care of their business, man. Unbelievable. I got to eat crow for Ford, Nick Candy, Connor D. Felipe. I got to eat BMW. I mean, there's just a lot of crow I've got to eat after this weekend. Matthew Jomine, I mean, they finished third. I gotta give them some credit. Crazy, man. There's just a lot of shit talking I did. With all dude fairness, a lot of it was warranted, man. I mean, a lot of it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
And all of that, I have to eat a lot of crow today. So I'm giving up to all those teams, drivers I mentioned, man. Like, you guys deserve all the credit in the world. What a drive by Ford. Super happy for him. Can they carry it over? Looks like they got the right BOP on that car, Tom. They didn't seem to lack on straight line speed. They didn't seem to lack too much in the intercourse.
No, they didn't. And watching that Mustang go down the straightaways was like the Eagles were screeching, the American flags were flying, and by God, there was Leonard Skinner playing in the background. I mean, that thing was just incredible to watch. I loved it. Every aspect of watching that. Probably one of the biggest manufacturer in terms of size. Cars go down the straightaway and absolutely slaughter all those European cars was phenomenal. There was nothing better in this world to watch.
Exactly. And they were faster than the BMW. And I think the real test was the BMW, because the BMW the last few years has been that intermediate car where they just seem to be strong everywhere. They're not great on the intersection. They're not great with straight line speed, but they're just so good everywhere that it doesn't have a weakness, right? Corvette, their weakness was the straight line speed. It showed all week long. They struggled on a straight line. Got them in the inner road course. They were more dominant than everybody else. But Ford was pretty much right there with BMW the whole race, and that was cool to watch. Ford's going in the right direction. I'm excited to see as the BOPs evolve throughout the rest of the year, how much more they can compete. And could this be a Ford year, man? I don't see a track on the schedule there they can't win, to be honest with you. Maybe like a Long Beach, they might struggle. Like, that might be a Corvette dominated race because of how good they corner and how they handle on the hard braking zones. But you take them to like Road America, I'd take Ford all day. You take them to Canadian Tire, maybe a little bit more favored towards Corvette. I'm just trying to run some of the races together. Indianapolis, I'm taking Ford all day. There's just certain races this year that I'm taking Ford. Watkins Glen, Ford all day, dude. I mean,
but here's the real kicker, Jay. I mean, VIR is a very technical track, and Ford did really good there last year.
Yes, that's true.
So, I mean, honestly, we still don't know how strong that Ford is. I mean, obviously, they're strong at Daytona, and we saw the Mustang really not have that good of performance in the infield, but on the long straightaways and the fast corners, it was still pretty strong. But I don't know. There's still a lot to find out with this Mustang, and I don't even think Ford knows.
No,
probably their package when coming to more intricate tracks like what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be fun, man. This is gonna be a fun year to see how this plays out. GT3, GTD Pro. Like I said in the Haters Guide video, I think like we talked about here last week, Tom. This was the most competitive class, man. It was the most entertaining to watch, in my opinion. I loved watching the GT battle. They didn't show enough of it at certain parts of the race, but damn, what a great race it was. Their last little thing to talk about. We got to talk about the winner of GTD. Corvette did end up winning that with the AWA team. Congratulations to them. And also with Matthew Bell, man. I'm going to nominate him as driver of the week just because of the amazing job he did. Not only getting moved out of the way by the Aston Martin in traffic, but him to fight back and kind of give a little bit of a nudge back himself going into turn one. Was able to make no mistakes at the end and win that race. I mean, that was impressive, man. And you see the emotion, man. That was so cool to see. This race meant the world to him, man. This was his biggest win of his entire life, man. And it showed on his face. So, what an awesome Rolex, man. Is there anything else you want to add? I kind of rambled on a lot there. I don't know if
No, I mean, I'm actually really happy with the result. I was really hoping that BMW had something for Porsche, but Maybe next year.
Yeah,
In GTP.
I agree. Oh, there's one other thing I did want to talk about. Old Vassar Sullivan, dude.
Oh God.
Just if you guys are out there, just pray to the racing gods that they bless them for the rest of this year, because it's gonna be a long year for old Vassar Sullivan and that Lexus.
It
man.
is.
Oh, it's gonna be miserable, man. That car is so outdated, so bad. The only thing they could have done was shake up driver lineups. They did that, and there's nothing there, man. They are gonna have a long year, which is crazy because we're only not even over, like, what, 18 months removed from a championship run that they had. I mean, oh, damn, dude. So keep Vassar Sullivan in your thoughts and minds. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rough. All right. So last little bit for the Rolex weekend recap. Right now, the Porsche Penske number 7 is first in points. The number 60 Acura with Blomqvist and Braun is second in points. And then the number third in points will be the number 6 Porsche with Estrie, Campbell, and Jaminet. So I did want to write those down. I don't have the point totals yet. I did not see those updated yet. But that is how the points stand as they currently sit after Daytona for the GTP class. Drivers of the week, Kamui Kobayashi, with this insane stint of a lifetime. That was just so much fun to watch. I forgot to mention this, but Windward, I did nominate the entire Windward team. I didn't know which driver specifically to nominate, so I just decided to nominate the whole team for driver of the week. These guys were 4 or 5 laps down. They're early in the race, had issues. Fought all the way back and were in contention to win late. That last caution that happened did not play out in their favor. I don't know what happened on that restart, but they lost track position on pit lane. Didn't have a good restart. But they were still in a position to win the race at the end, which is awesome to see. And then also, I'm going to nominate Matthew Bell. We rarely nominate winners, but dude, that final stint by Matthew Bell, with the entire field breathing down his neck, losing the position, fighting back for it, that was just an insane drive. And I won for the ages, man. It doesn't get talked about enough. So, Boneheads of the week, I'm going to nominate Colton Herta for binning the car. That was, I think I predicted that in the Haters Guide video. He didn't get out, though. That's one upside, Tom. He did not get out of the car.
Yes, he did not get out. I will give him that.
Oh, man. Jordan Pepper, the driver of the number 9 Lamborghini PFAF machine, and with the Arca brake moment in this race, taking out the number 48 BMW. And then I'm also going to nominate Louis Delatraz for losing control. Threw away what could have been an amazing Kamui Kobayashi, like, villain arc, man. I mean, hero villain arc. I don't know. It would have been tough to figure out how to classify that with Kobayashi. But those are your nominees, drivers, and Bonehead of the week. Those will be out after this podcast for you guys to vote on. So make sure you guys do so. All right, before we talk about or give you our picks for the races this weekend, which is the Busch Light Clash for the Cup Series, I think it's time we go into our IndyCar season preview, Tom. First off, let's talk about schedule. Pretty much the same schedule that we've had the last few years, except Milwaukee's not a doubleheader this year, and Thermal Club is a points race this year. What are your thoughts about Thermal Club becoming a points race?
I kind of hope that, we could do a little bit more on the racing product when it comes to thermal. I don't know. Look, they're going to have a lot more information on what to do when building setups. The racing, I'm not saying the racing was bad because it was the All-Star race. I mean, it just went to go and show who was the best of the best. But like when it's a points-paying race, I kind of hope for a little bit more battle for the front. I mean, if it's Alex Palou and he's 15 seconds ahead, whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm good with it. But just kidding. Let's just see. I'm okay with change. I'm not okay with changing something and it not working for the next 15 years.
Right. Yeah, there's no reason to make a change. We're going to have to change it again later. Yeah. Because what's good in 10 minutes might not be good in 10 years. Let's focus on what's good in 10 years. I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. And I mean, we got the new IndyCar coming here in a few years, which we're not going to spend too much time talking about that today. But I'm with you, man. I didn't think the race at Thermal Club was too bad last year. I don't know. It's just
some
gonna
good
be
drama.
interesting. Yeah, it's good drama, but the race was also really short. It's not like we had a chance to have multiple pit sequences, I think we talked about it last year when we watched the All-Star race there. We were like, man, if this race was a 2-stopper, with the potential to make it on a one stop, this would be a freaking awesome race. And
Banger.
I think that's something that we could do. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for
Oh
Throttle
yeah.
Club. And then Milwaukee obviously getting its one race instead of the doubleheader. We still have the Indianapolis in the month of May. Barber right there towards the end of April, or is it the beginning of May? I can't remember. It might be the first race of May, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, Barber is going to be good on there. Portland's going to be back again. Basically the same schedule. We're going to see how it all plays out. I'm excited. I think IndyCar does good with the schedule. I still think that there's too many ovals, but maybe that's just the the road and street course fan in me, and maybe my lack of liking ovals in IndyCar. I guess I don't know. I don't know. We've talked about it before. I don't know if you feel the same way or not.
I don't know. There's good races, with ovals in IndyCar. I just think the real money, the money races, the races that we'll look back on for years, start on street courses.
Yes. Yeah, Long Beach, St. Pete.
One that just sticks out
Detroit.
in my head. Well, it'll always be Toronto for me. Toronto's a
Toronto's
freaking badass track.
Yes.
And what who is my dark horse for all these years in IndyCar? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Raced at RLL. He's going to McLaren this year.
Lundgaard.
Thank you, Jesus.
I knew where you were going with that. I was just trying to remember as well.
But yeah, Lundgaard at Toronto, phenomenal race. 2023 Toronto race. Just go look it up if you haven't seen it. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Yeah, I love street courses. I think you're right. That's kind of where it starts and ends. Is with the road to street courses. All right. Indy NXT, similar schedule, obviously. I think we should kind of start with Indy NXT. I've got the driver lineup here, different guys. We got notables coming back. Callum Hedge will be with Able Motorsports this year. Miles Rowe returning with Able Motorsports as well in the 99. Salvador Del Alba, who won or was really competitive on ovals last year, he's returning to Andretti in the 27. James Rowe in the 29, returning this year as well. I would look to him to be a strong contender. Bryce Aaron, we saw him at Le Mans. He raced for JDC Miller. He's going to be with HMD this year. Kyle Collette returning with HMD this year. That's going to be a heavy favorite going into this year's championship. Josh Pearson as well, returning.
You're missing a big one here, Jay.
Which one? Oh, God. I know. I'm missing old Haley Deegan, dude, aren't I, huh? Well, that was in the rookie group, right? So the rookies, we got Sophia Flores, Haley Deegan, Miguel Maria Garcia, Sebastian Murray, and Lockie Hughes, which Lockie Hughes I'm excited for. I've seen him kick ass in the USF Pro 2000 stuff over the last couple years. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Dennis Hauger as well, another guy that's been really quick in these lower divisions. So I guess when we look at it, dude, I know last year you were big on James Rowe. Are you still feeling the same way going into this year? Do you think he might be the championship favorite? I know we kind of talked about it during the Rolex. I would put him in a class of 3 for championship favorites. I put him. I would probably have to put Kale Collette, obviously. And I don't really know a lot about Salvador De Alba on anything but the ovals. He's going to be good there, but it's a full championship, right?
Yeah.
Bryce Aaron jumping into that machine that Nolan Siegel had great success in, the 39 at HMD. I'd probably put those 3 right there. Kyle Collette, James Rowe, and Bryce Aaron.
Well, the driver I've been cheering for the past 2 years has been Louis Foster. And obviously he's going to IndyCar, won the championship in 24. But you know, let me just do something here real quick. Yeah, Collette. That's who I'm really looking forward to this year is Collette. I had to remind myself what I was doing here. So Collette, I mean, obviously HMD, they build great cars as well. I think that Collette could be a great pick. You gotta gotta give it. I think James Rowe, could be a good one. Miles Rowe as well. I'll tell you who I'm looking forward to the most, though, just because I'm curious more than anything here. It's Sophia Flores,
Yeah.
and that's I just want to see, like, can she wheel and deal with these Indy cars or Indy NXT cars? Um, like dang it, dude, I'm forgetting names like crazy today. Who won Road America last year?
Oh, Jamie Chadwick. Yeah.
Thank you, Jamie Chadwick. I'm curious to know if she can have the same results, strong finishes like Chadwick. But we'll see. But that's who I'm really gonna be looking at this year is Sophia. But also, I think I'm gonna take. I think I'm gonna take Colette as my favorite this year. I think so.
I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I think he has definitely got to be the front runner favorite. I'm gonna go with James Rowe just to be a little different. I think James Rowe is gonna win the championship this year. I do like the direction that Andretti's going. They won the championship with Foster last year. HMD won it with Rasmussen the year before. So it's kind of that Andretti v HMD battle. I think we're gonna see it again between James Rowe and Kyle Collette this year. It's gonna be fun to watch. Um, Also out of the HMD camp with Bryce Aaron, it's gonna be fun to watch him. I'm
Yep.
excited to see Lockie Hughes with the Andretti camp as a rookie, as well as Miles Rowe. These are two of the last two, or these are the last two champions in the USF Pro 2000s. With Miles Rowe winning it the year before, he was a rookie last year, and then Lockie Hughes coming in this year as a rookie, winning it last year as well. So I'm excited to see maybe Miles Rowe takes a step forward this year. I was really optimistic with him last year. Then he had some flashes of brilliance. He had some races where you're like, damn, he's going places. He was in the top 3 or 4 in points for a good chunk of the season till the end when he kind of fell off and had a few DNFs. Really lost a lot of points. Can he start as strong as he did last year and maintain it through the duration of the season? Maybe put himself into championship contention. And Lockie Hughes, man, I think this kid's gonna be a freaking IndyCar superstar someday. I think it all begins this year with Andretti. Can he build those relationships? Can he show the pace? Does he learn from his mistakes? Does he make the mistakes necessary and learn from them? That you would expect from a rookie driver. I'm excited to see what he could do. And then Salvador at D'Alba there with Andretti as well. I've mentioned it. This dude was unbelievable on ovals last year. I mean, every oval last year, he was the only one that was able to make legitimate passes throughout the field. Never got one of those wins, but he was super freaking close. I'm curious to see what he could do this year. But yeah, I'm excited. Indy NXT. All these races are going to be on main Fox this year. So I'm excited for Indy NXT. These always happen right before the IndyCar race. Every race day or Sunday. So you get a doubleheader every Sunday with IndyCar, Indy NXT, and then IndyCar back to back. So it should be fun, man. I'm excited. Indy NXT is such a fun series to watch. Lots of entertainment. And I think this year, again, like last year, who's going to be that new Louis Foster? Who's going to be that new Christian Rasmussen? There's always that one guy that sticks out above the rest every single year. And who's going to be that guy this year? It's going to be fun to watch. I guess there's two every year because you had Rasmussen and Siegel 2 years ago. Then last year you had, who was it? Oh, Jacob Abel and Louis Foster. Who's going to be the two this year? And I think we're on the same page here. I think it's going to be Cal Collette, James Rowe. See if those are the two guys that we're expecting to take the top. Alrighty, that'll do Indy NXT. We'll jump over to the rest of IndyCar now. Let's go over where should we start? Let's got the schedule. Let's talk about the main races. We got Long Beach and then obviously the Indy 500. Long Beach is a toss-up, man. I don't know who's going to win at Long Beach this year. We've seen Andretti have their success there. We've seen, obviously, we've seen like, have their strengths there. Penske have their strengths there. I don't know who's going to win. Who's going to win at Long Beach this year, Tom? Oh shoot! Wait 1 second. I think I lost you. I think something just happened. I'm sorry about that. Mic check. Okay, yeah, it's something to do here. Let me check my settings. I'm not picking you up through OBS. Oh, now I am. All right, we're good. Picture back up.
Okay. Excuse me. Well, obviously, when it comes to Long Beach, you can always choose one driver to be in the thick of it. It's Scott Dixon. Always.
Facts. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was going to take Scott Dixon as well. Since you did, I'm gonna be a little different. Um, oh, be different. Let's
No.
go.
Hold on. I'm just saying you could count on Scott Dixon
I
to
see what
get a
you're
good
saying.
result.
I see what you're saying.
I'm going Alex Palou every race. What do you mean?
I love it. Yeah, no, I love it. So you're thinking more of that. I would say more like an Andretti. I mean, obviously we got Colton Herta, Kyle Kirkwood, both really good on street courses. Marcus Ericsson, who's showed success on some street courses. It'll be interesting to see if Andretti will be able to maybe take that step forward this year. I guess we should just jump into maybe Indy 500 picks then, because we've got basically most Indy 500 build figured out. And I think it's kind of fair to say we should do a pick. I think this is my bold prediction, but I think I picked Pato O'Ward. I'm gonna stick with it, man. I think this year for McLaren, I think Pato O'Ward finally breaks through and gets his Indy 500.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be McLaren or Penske.
Yeah,
winning it again. I think honestly, you could see some performance out of Alexander Rossi, and watch for him to be the big underdog coming into the Indy 500. Just watch. I think that he showed some really good racing with McLaren there last year. So he's going to be working with family ties to the owner of the track, which has been rumored for freaking decades that ECR gets the Big Daddy treatment when they go to Indianapolis. So it's a possibility. We'll see what will happen, but man, it's hard for me to choose who. I think Scotty Mac's gonna take it.
damn, that'd be freaking awesome, dude. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
He's definitely been one of the best drivers in the series on ovals the last couple of years. I think everybody looked at Newgarden as the oval king, but last year it was McLaughlin. McLaughlin was killing it on ovals last year. Won the pole for the Indy 500. Didn't really have the experience I think really necessary at the end of that race. I don't know what happened, if the weather changed at the end when it started to get cooler and darker. I don't know if that had something to do with it. Lost the track position. Wasn't able to get it back.
Here's what we do know though. They learned from it.
Yes.
They've got all the data now. They know what to do next time. Scotty Mac's not a stupid guy.
No.
He's very, very talented, very smart. He's gonna make the right decision next time. And honestly, if Scotty Mac and his team, I'm not saying the whole burden lies on Scotty Mac. I'm just saying as an organizational whole, if they made the proper steps moving forward, I would be confident in saying Scotty Mac would have won that race. Honestly,
yeah,
I would
agree.
I'd put confidence in that.
What do you think our speed out of everybody's favorite astronaut, Santino Ferrucci? How good do you think he does this year at the Indy 500?
They don't have Michael Cannon. They don't have any weapons in their arsenal. They're going to go back to their old ways because they're going to go cost cutting. Tell me how I know, or ask me how I know. And they're going to be garbage this year. Just watch. They're going to be referring to all of their old sets from 2024, try to apply them to 2025. Everybody's already advanced from that. They're going to be living back in the old age. They're not going to do a damn thing this year. And damn, is it a shame for David Malukas.
Facts. I was thinking the same thing. Poor David Malukas. I think it's gonna be a long year. I think it's gonna be a worse year than what it was when he was with Dale Coyne. I mean, it's gonna be rough for Malukas. So, yeah. So that's our Andretti pick. I think the one we didn't mention for the Indy 500, and I think this guy probably had the fastest car in the race until he made that freaking boneheaded, brain dead moment. Colton Herta, dude. I mean, if he would have got back in that car, I think Colton Herta could have won that damn race, dude. Like, his car was unbelievably fast last year. I think he had the fastest car in the field. Not the qualifying pace, obviously, but race pace, man. He was the fastest damn car on the freaking track. It felt like it.
I still think Scotty Mac had the fastest car. I really do.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think it was a toss up between those two for sure.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Pato O'Ward was quick. Joseph Newgarden was quick. Will Power was quick. But I think Scotty Mac really, I sincerely believe he was the fastest man on track all race long. I really do. I really thought he was going to threaten to win that race late in the race, but it just didn't work out for him, you know?
Yeah, just didn't work out. Expectations for Larson returning to the Indy 500?
Hung money.
Yeah, hung money. I agree. I don't think there's any expectation for him.
He-
Elio
look,
Castroneves
we
back.
called it. We called it
Oh,
too.
100%.
We called it. We called the hung money moment.
Mhm.
And he did it. All right?
Yeah, 2 in one race. He had the speeding penalty and the terrible restart.
Look at his 2024 NASCAR season. How else can you describe it as other than hung money?
Facts.
You can't.
Facts.
Put it in the dictionary.
Ed Carpenter going to be racing for ECR. You already said Rossi was going to be a dark horse. I agree with you. I think that is going to be a surprise pick going into this year's Indy 500. Also with what is it? Where is I trying to go? Ryan Bolt or Cusick, driver Ryan Bolt, Cusick Motorsports. Ryan Hunter-Ray will be back for the Indy 500. Same with Jack Harvey. So we'll see how they could do this year. Always an Indy 500 team. See if they can make a stride forward. Elio Castroneves looks like he's going to be on the list as well for the Indy 500. I do want to talk about old Cooter Daly, Stingray Rob over there at Juncos Hollinger, man. This seems like a freaking cursed ass team, dude.
What the hell is there to talk about?
That's why I wanted to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about.
Oh man. Oh no. What are they thinking, man? What are they thinking?
I think this is going to be a rough year. I think we're going to have a lot of Andretti versus Junko Hollinger issues here. I think this might be a year where Dale Coyne runs circles around him, dude. And we don't even know who the hell's driving in their cars yet. We know Jacob Abel in the 51. We have no idea who's driving the 18 this year.
It might be a rotating door, man.
I think it's going to be pay drivers for sure, is my opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe get.
I mean, who can? So who's out on the market? Oriol Servia,
Renus VK.
Renus VK. Renus should really get that seat, honestly. I mean, we could take leaps here. Spencer Piggott, James Hinchcliffe,
Yuri Vips is out there.
Yuri Vips. Yeah.
Mateo Porcher has nowhere to go in 2025.
Who? I forget his name. Again, I'm having one of those moments. He was a rookie in the Indy 500, coming off at turn 4 on the last lap, hit the wall because of a lap car. Because he drives for
J.R. Hildebrand.
Hildebrand, thank you, Hildebrand. Because usually he drives for Reinbold, or is in contention for a seat there. So
I see a Catherine Legge Indy 500 in the 18.
Yeah, I could
know
see
who's
that
gonna
too.
be in the other races though. Like maybe she'll run all the ovals and then have someone else run.
Also, most of the time, Foyt fields a third car too, so there's also that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then as it comes to the full season, we got obviously Marcus Armstrong moving over to Meyer Shank. Expectations there with Marcus Armstrong. I'm a huge fan of him, to be honest with you. I'm a huge fan of Marcus Armstrong. I think he's going to do well.
He kind of needs to do something, you know.
That's true.
But I think he can. I don't think he's a bad driver necessarily. He was just a rookie last year. Didn't he win pole at Road America?
Yeah. Until he got ran over by Lundqvist, which was
in turn
tragic.
1, lap 1.
Which that's another driver on the market.
Yeah. But it was his rookie year, so it's unfortunate. It really wasn't his fault. The IndyCar went 2-3 car team sort of deal, and all that other stuff. So, it kind of just sucks for him, really. But I think that he can do something at Meyer Shank. I really do. I think he can.
Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% behind it. Oh, excuse me. Dang. We had Louis Foster. Rookie in the number 45. I know how high you are on Louis Foster, but I think this is going to be an opportunity for him to learn. In that stable, it's going to be a tough learning curve. We saw it last year with Kiffin Simpson. We saw it with Christian Lundgaard, and we know how good those drivers are. I think it's going to be kind of the same situation here for Louis
I agree.
Foster.
This is going to be a learning year for him. And look, let's be honest here. RLL isn't as good as they used to be. All right. maybe might be a little bit of opinion response here, but maybe the next fight, maybe kind of look at likes it on the way out, sort of deal going on there. So I'm not expecting a lot out of him this year. I'm really not.
Yeah, me neither. I think if he could just learn how to finish races and make the mistakes you're supposed to make as a
Exactly.
rookie, that's going to be a success. I'd say that with Jacob Abel too. I know, like, I kind of see the same kind of linear progression there with him and Louis Foster. Also with Nolan Siegel moving on to Arrow McLaren with Christian Lundgaard, Pato O'Ward make up their 3-driver lineup. I think Pato O'Ward's going to obviously outperform the other two. It's going to be interesting to see what Lundgaard could do, man. He's proven, but McLaren just doesn't seem like a winning venture, man. How many rotating drivers have we seen at McLaren in the last 3 years? Yeah. This just seems like a really bad take here.
It's a career ender. They have been the career ender. I mean, thankfully Rossi got a place somewhere, and
Rosenquist, yeah.
Rosenquist, yeah. But I mean, dude. But at the same point, it's kind of make or break for him, right? I mean, do you want to spend another year at RLL where you're not even going to have the chance to do anything? Or potentially get the chance to do something at McLaren, given Big Daddy Zach Brown isn't there giving everything to Pato O'Ward?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's
I don't know. Yeah.
Pato's like their token child, and it just seems like they aren't putting any effort into the other cars. I don't know. We know how fast Nolan Siegel and Christian Lundgaard are. It's just going to be a matter of this McLaren really believe in them as much as maybe they pretend like they do. I don't know. We'll find out. I think McLaren, I mean, we'll get to championship picks here in a little bit, maybe championship teams, but the last team I did want to talk about with the changing driver lineups, or I guess new team, Prima Motorsports, man. Robert Schwartzman coming in as a rookie with Callum Ilott. I think they went with the right choice of drivers here. I'm excited to see what Prima could do. How long do you think it's going to take for Prima to get their legs under them to be competitive? I mean, are we putting them more in the mid pack? We put them at the back of the pack to start this year. You think they're going to be right back with Andretti and not Andretti, with Foyt, Dale Coyne?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they had the right combination of drivers. They have the right organization coming in. They lost Michael Cannon. That was their absolute nuclear weapon that they could have brought to the field. Again, nobody knows what happened between those parties, but it was bad. Well, I don't know. I don't know what happened. But that was Prima's nuclear weapon leading into the season. So I shouldn't say concerned, because honestly, it's cool that we're getting some new teams to IndyCar, but it's a new team. The last time we saw a full European team come into IndyCar was Rodden. Is that right?
Yeah,
I forget.
Yeah, it's Rodin. Yeah, if I remember right.
Yeah, they came into IndyCar. They brought all their European tactics and all this other stuff, and I was there when it happened. And I was working with these guys, and I was like helping them with their body work and stuff like that. It was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
It was a disaster, and they didn't know any better. Like they just didn't know. But also there was a arrogance that went with that.
Yes, yeah, the European arrogance wanting to come in
and
beat the Americans in their own thing.
Yeah, and that's great. Have a fire under your ass. I don't care. Like, let's get some good competition out there. But what I'm telling you now is that the European mindset that Rodin came in with was not the right mindset. There might be a different mindset within the Europeans that'll work. I don't know. Maybe these guys have perfected that, but what I saw was very detrimental, very arrogant, and resistant to change to what actually worked. Really, if you go back to the 2018 season and you watch Rodin do pit stops, you'll be sitting there asking, WTF? What am I watching? Yeah. It almost feels like WWE. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, those guys were just lost. and they didn't want to take advice. So, I hope that Prima doesn't come in with that kind of mindset. I hope that they're open, that they're cool with change, or take advice and stuff like that. Um, if not, I don't really see it boding well for them.
Yeah,
And
I think
honestly,
you summed that up
you know
perfect.
what, Jay? Thinking about it now, why Michael Cannon left? Maybe it was some of that European arrogance. Maybe it was.
You could be 100% right. You could be 100% right. That's actually a great point because it reminds me like a lot when Red Bull came in and NASCAR, same thing. It was like European
Yeah.
arrogance.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
with the Rodin. I think right. I think that we saw a little bit of that with United when they made their jump over to IMSA this year. I mean, or last
Yeah.
year. I mean, I I think you're right. I think that could be a lot to do with it. I mean, Michael Cannon is a freaking stellar dude. If he whatever team he ends up on is going to be a dynasty. I mean, um, let alone whatever there already is dynasties in IndyCar. But yeah, I think you're right. I'm excited because of Kalamila alone. I just want to see him
Yeah.
do well, man. Like whenever it doesn't matter what he's behind race car wise, he just finds speed out of it, man. And
Yeah.
I love watching him in the World Dirt Championship. I kind of wish he would have stayed there permanently, man. Like he's one of those guys that you just root for in the World Dirt Championship. But I understand, man. IndyCar comes knocking, man. You got to go and attempt it. So I'm glad to see him get an actual shot here in IndyCar, and hopefully that this Prima team can learn throughout the year and maybe be competitive towards the end. That's going to be a big gauge to see what they could do from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. That's how we're going to judge them on this 2025 campaign. Alrighty, I guess championship picks. We know our three heavy hitting teams: Andretti, Ganassi, Penske. Um, do we see Palou go 4 out of 5?
Yes.
I guess I set that up for you perfectly. We already know Tom's prediction. All right, so why does Alex Palou win the championship in 2025, Tom?
Because he's the next Scott Dixon. He is the next Scott Dixon. He's already won in the past 4 years. He's won 3 of the titles, 2 in a row right now. He's gonna make it 3 in a row. He's got the equipment. He's got the team behind him. Everything from last year is moving to this year. Ganassi's off season is the standard when it comes to preparing for the new season. Like what we were talking about last week when we were specifically shitting on the Ford program in the GTD category. Off seasons win championships. And Ganassi has been proven to do that time and time and time and time and time again. Palou, world class driver. Ganassi, arguably best team in IndyCar. It's a combination for greatness.
Alrighty. And then last, I guess my pick. I don't know. I've gotten a lot of back and forth with this. It's easy to take Palou, man, but I got to be different than you. I mean, Palou is like you said, dude. Palou is. I think the biggest thing what we said the last couple years was his ovals. Like, it seemed like he starts off so strong, but by the time they get to ovals, he kind of fades a little bit, and that's how the championship battle kind of got exciting the last couple years. He's improved immensely on ovals. I mean, it's hard to not think that he's not going to continue to improve on ovals even to a further extent. Palou's gonna be tough to beat this year. He's just so consistent. He's hard to beat. But with that being said, he's the driver I pull for on in IndyCar. Last year I could point back to like 6 different races where one thing goes this way or instead of that way. He wins the championship like Detroit, leading the race, throws it in the wall. I'm talking about Scotty McLaughlin at Laguna Seca, running towards the front, making his way through the field, and then him and Will Power get into it. Then he gets into it again with Will Power at Toronto. I mean, there was just so many little things like that all year with the disqualification at St. Pete. You know, there's just so many things that went against McLaughlin last year to prevent him from winning the championship. And I think he was the strongest contender towards Palou for that championship last year. It didn't show. It showed in the points. He finished third, right behind Will Power and obviously Alex Palou. So I'm gonna take Scott McLaughlin. I think this is the year Scotty Mack ends up finding himself in championship contention and wins the dang thing this year. Finally, his ovals. I would say he's probably the best oval driver on the circuit right now. I don't think that's even arguable right now. I think that's a fact. Everybody says everything what they say about Joseph Newgarden, but McLaughlin out competed him all year last year, and won most of the ovals last year with Scotty Mack. So I think that's a big factor, and we know how good he is on road and street courses. I mean, he's top notch. So I think Scotty Mack is going to win the championship this year. Dark horses, I guess, win the championship. I would probably throw Colton Herta's name around. he was so good last year. There, like a lot like Scotty Mack, man. There was so many situations last year where he had the fastest car, made bad decisions, like Indianapolis getting out of the car, Road America getting involved in that early wreck, having that bad qualifying session that put him in that position. Um, just so many different scenarios last year for Colton Herta. Do you think he's probably the number one dark horse contender to win the championship, or do you think you have another one in mind?
Um, yeah, I think there's two. I think Colton Herta, if he can get his shit together, and then also I think Pato O'Ward. And the only reason why I say that, Indy 500 performance was phenomenal. And then what really kind of made me think about the year 2025 and 2024 was that race in Mid Ohio.
Yes,
Where
yes.
he defended off Alex Palou with less battery charge and 1 lap older tires. Which, take that with a grain of salt. But when we're talking about a game of hundreds of seconds, that means something. So, and we're also talking about arguably the best driver in IndyCar right now as well. So, Pato O'Ward beat him.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was a phenomenal race as well. I can't even be, as an Alex Palou fan, can't even be mad about that. That man put on a hell of a show, hell of a defense too, to hold on to P1. So I think Colton Herta, yeah, and I think Pato O'Ward, yeah.
All
Other
right.
than the obvious, Team Penske,
Right.
Ganassi, stuff like that as well. Yeah.
Right. I agree 100%. I think those are good takes, man. It's going to be a fun IndyCar season, man. I'm so looking forward to it. The schedule's awesome. The teams that are lined up, some of the drivers. I mean, this is going to be a great IndyCar season. And it's all on Fox, man. It's all on Fox. We're going to see how good Fox can do. Their promotions have been freaking top-notch phenomenal. Let's see if that could translate to the broadcast booth, bringing in James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell, which I think is great, and then Will Buxton as the play-by-play guy, which is going to be good as well. So I'm excited, man. IndyCar, we're not that far away. March 2nd, St. Pete. Will be
Yeah,
the
brother.
kickoff to the season, man. We're not that far away to getting some IndyCar action back underway. Is there anything else you want to add to IndyCar season preview? Anything?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
Just Devlin DiFrancesco. What is Ray Hall doing, man?
Well, they have Pietro last year. They're just plug and play.
Yeah, and it's not even a plug and play. It's another downgrade. That man in Andretti equipment couldn't do a damn thing. That's the top of their game.
Oh, you're not wrong.
I don't know. Again, Ray Hall is the next Foyt.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
I agree 100%. I'm glad that you brought that up because I was kind of skirting around that whole thing. So I'm glad you brought that up. Oh, man.
No words.
All right, that will be the end of our IndyCar season preview. Super excited for it. Like I said, March 2nd, St. Pete, season kicks off. Alex Palou, Will Power, and Scott McLaughlin are our championship picks. We're going to see how it all plays out here March 2nd. All right, we got one final little bit of thing to do here in this podcast, and that is make our picks for this weekend's what is it called this year? It's called the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray. Also, the 12 Hours of Bathurst. We may do a watch party for that. Don't get your hopes up. We'll figure that out and decide whether we do that or not here in the next couple of days. If not, I'll be watching it anyway, so I'm excited for that 12 Hours of Bathurst. I don't really care about all the other classes that are racing. I'm mostly excited to see Valentino Rossi. With what he did there last year was super awesome, so I can't wait to see that. All right, Cookout Clash, man. Different format. We went over that last week. Well, it's kind of the same format, but it all culminates on Sunday with the Busch Light Clash under the lights at Bowman Gray Stadium. I'm taking Ryan Blaney to win. I'm just throwing a dart at a dartboard, man. Anybody can win this damn thing. It's gonna be an absolute wreck fest. I think it's gonna be like that first year at the Coliseum. I think that's how this race is gonna play out. I think it's gonna be an absolute crapshoot.
Yeah.
You're gonna see guys high in points last year having to race themselves in through an LCQ with random shenanigans. So I'm gonna take Ryan Blaney. I do want to mention though, real quick, that Tim Brown and Burt Myers, both like legends at Roman Gray, are going to be making starts at respectively with Rickware Racing for Tim Brown and Amerivet for Burt Myers. So we'll see how they can do. And then obviously Garrett Smithley with MBM. There's going to be a notable entry as well on the list as well, compared to all the regulars, the full timers. So I'm gonna take Ryan Blaney as my favorite. I think I don't know. I'm just throwing a dart at a dartboard. I think he's a great short track racer. We've seen what he's done at Martinsville the last few years, at Richmond especially too. I think this is going to play in Blaney's favor. I think you're going to have to do a lot of moving and shuffling to gain track position in this race. It's going to be track position is going to be important. Getting it's going to be extremely difficult. We're going to see a lot of bad attitudes and tempers, I think, in this race. It's going to be crazy. And with that being said, that leads me to my dark horse pick, which I think is going to play. This track is going to play in perfectly to this guy's driving style, and I think I'm taking Jose Carsovar, man. I think he's the man that's going to ruffle some feathers, and he's going to do whatever it takes to make the main event. And once it gets there, dude, how many cars does he move to get to the front? We're going to find that out all on Sunday.
Yeah. I agree with you, Jay. I think there's not probably there. I think there is going to be drama. And watch out for the hotheads. And actually, I'm going to put Blaney in that category as well. I'm going to put Blaney there. I'm going to put Bush there. Denny Hamlin. I'm going to put Chase Elliott there too. There's I mean, obviously there's plenty of drivers with a bunch of subject matter there as well. So, but that's I think that those drivers will probably be affected. And maybe some surprise drivers too. We'll see. I don't know. But with my pick for the Cookout Clash, I'm gonna go with what I'm calling right now the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Christopher Bell. I think that he is. I think it's his year. I think Chris Bell's gonna start out with a win for the season. Even though it's not no points, non-points race. He's going to start it with a win, and he's going to end it with a win. He's going to win the championship. So I think Bell's going to start out strong. I think that we're in the era of that arc for Chris Bell. Yeah, watch out for him all year long. Put him on your fantasy because he's gonna get you a lot of points. So is Blaney. Blaney's a great choice, by the way. And then my dark horse, I'm going with Jose Carsovar as well. I think that again, this is a year for himself to do something. I think that I think he's gonna win a race. I know I said it last year, but I think he can. I think that Spire program is just getting stupid strong, and they're skirting by all the radars, and nobody's looking at them. I think Spire's going to be strong this year.
All righty, those are some good picks, man. I'm excited for this to see what Spire can do this year. I think the betting odds had him at over under 1.5 wins in 2025, which I think is crazy, dude.
Woo!
They haven't had any wins. We're gonna see how that.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, there's some pretty crazy betting odds on some of this stuff, man. It's pretty crazy. So we'll see how Spire can do. They got Rodney Childers over there now. We know what his track record is. We'll see how that works out. With them this year. Also with McDowell moving over there. Alrighty. That's it. I think that'll wrap up this podcast. If you guys want to follow us on all of our socials, those are down below as well as in the link description. We got all the social media platforms out there. Go over there to support us and show us some love over on all those platforms. Also, if you guys want to follow us we're streaming also on Kicks. If you guys want to follow us over there as well, that would mean the world to us. If you guys want to join the best racing motorsports community on the internet, the link to our Discord is down below. We post all the rumors, memes, drama, news, whatever it may be with all motorsports around the world. It's super fun. Come in there, post your own news, your own drama, your own memes, whatever it may be. Interact with other like-minded racing fans such as yourself and join the greatest racing community on the internet. Also, if you guys want to support us even more, we have a merch store. Go buy you some Dega Boys merch. Get all swagged out, especially as we're entering the spring and the motorsport season. All those proceeds continue to help us make bigger and better content for you guys here on YouTube. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, watch all of our videos, all of our content, turn on the notifications, stay updated with everything happening on the channel, and leave a like on every video as well. That really helps us out with the algorithms and gets our videos out there for more racing fans to see our content. This has been a fun podcast, man. Great Rolex 24. We went over that really in depth. IndyCar season preview, which we're super excited for the start of IndyCar season coming up soon, as well as this weekend, the Busch Light Clash predictions for this weekend. Next weekend, we'll be recapping this weekend's Busch Light Clash in 12 Hours of Bathurst, as well as previewing the 2025 F1 season preview. That'll be the last season preview we have left remaining, and we'll do that all for you guys next week. And then we'll get back into Daytona 500 preview stuff coming up the weekend after. So lots of great stuff to look forward to. Lots of watch parties. We'll start some polls here in the next couple days or week for you guys to vote for the February watch parties, and then March as well. Lots of great racing coming up, man. So thank you guys again for tuning in and tuning into our watch parties this weekend. We had a great time watching the Rolex with you guys. It means the world to us when we see you guys coming in, jump in with us. So yeah, another awesome podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Have a great rest of your week.